Hi, I'm Dana. Welcome to Tools and Tips to Owning Your Worth. For those of you that have subscribed previously, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for continuing to watch the episodes. I'm so grateful that they're resonating with you. And thank you for sharing them with your friends, your family, your acquaintances. I really appreciate it. For those of you that are new, welcome. I hope that what I talk about today resonates with you. And if it does, please like the episode. And if it really resonates, please feel free to subscribe and share. Share. The purpose of this channel is to really help people think to raise their vibration, think to get to a healthier place, think to have conversations with others so that sometimes verbal processing is such a wonderful tool, so that you can get to that next level. So happy Valentine's Day. We are recording this for Valentine's Day. I would be completely remiss if I didn't do a topic on self-love, right? It's kind of my whole thing. So happy Self-Love Day. I know it's a Hallmark holiday. I've heard of that all my life, but I happen to have a very special person that was born on Valentine's Day, and that just reiterated to me the idea that it's one day a year where we can choose to think a little bit more deeply about the concept of love. So if you move past the jaded Hallmark part, how about thinking about Valentine's Day as the one day of year that you can really just appreciate the love you have for yourself and the love you have for all the other people in your life. That is the amazing gift that Valentine's Day gives us. Self-love, that's the topic, self-love. So I did an episode a while ago on the fact that we teach people how to treat us, and we can only love people from where we are. And so therefore, I felt like it was extremely important to talk about that concept from a different angle. Self-love is kind of a cliche. It's kind of a catchphrase lately. What does it mean? How do you self-love? And the answer that I have found or learned over all my years of life on this planet boils down to this, that we live in this body and this is it, right? This is all we have, and we get up with this body and we go through our day with this body, and then we lay our heads down at night. And if we are practicing self-love, then the subtext of that is that we are practicing self-compassion, self-forgiveness, grace, and mercy. So what does self-compassion look like? Self-compassion looks like not beating yourself up when things go wrong, when you make a mistake. There is no one on this entire planet that's perfect. So I want you to think about that for a second. You are not perfect. We are broken humans, and that is by design. So to hold yourself to a standard of perfection is about the most anti-compassionate thing that you could possibly practice. So please, please, please try to incorporate self-compassion when you've screwed up. If it's a tiny little screw up or it's the whole world just blew up in your face, both of those and everything in between requires self-compassion. Self-forgiveness. Sometimes we are not our best selves. Sometimes we say things to people and we hurt them. Sometimes our actions are not as high vibrational as we would have preferred them to be. And in those moments when you are reflecting on the action or the conversation or the words or the fight, that is a time that I would encourage you to practice self-forgiveness. Because how are we as a society, how are we as individuals and we in relationships supposed to move forward from an argument or a time when somebody didn't show up as their best self if we cannot practice forgiveness? And we have to start with forgiving ourselves in that moment before we can forgive somebody else, because otherwise our ego gets in the way and it's trying to self-justify, or it's saying that the other person's actions were so horrible. none of that matters. None of it matters. If we're practicing self-love, we want to keep our physiological body calm. We want to keep ourselves in our right mind, and we want to not listen to the stories of the ego. And that requires us to forgive ourselves first. And that makes space for forgiveness for others. Grace and mercy. Grace. Well, if you're not perfect, guess what? Other people aren't either. And a lot of times we get so mad at somebody for showing up in less than their stellar best self. And then we just chew on it, and we can get resentful, and then we can get self-righteous, and oh my gosh, it's just this huge party of anger and frustration. But how does that help us? It doesn't. It doesn't help us at all. It keeps us stuck in a low vibrational element. It keeps our bodies heavy. It keeps our hearts closed. It keeps our throats closed. We can have a lot of, if you hang on to that anger for a long time, it can literally cause physical illness. So another act of self-love is to practice grace and mercy when it comes to others. Even in the toughest cases, when people have been ridiculously abusive to us, the acts of forgiveness, grace, and mercy that we choose have nothing to do with winning and losing, and nothing to do with our ego. They have everything to do with our health. Our health. So, on this Valentine's Day, when you're handing out your flowers and you're sending cards to people to make sure they understand how much you love and appreciate them in your life, I would really, really invite you to do the same for yourself. Give yourself a treat. Practice self-love, self-forgiveness, self-compassion, and grace and mercy. And see what happens. Thanks for stopping by. Namaste.